Imagine you're like walking down a hallway. You're completely lost in thought, convinced you know exactly where you're going.
Oh, yeah, maybe scrolling on your phone, totally distracted.
Exactly. You're moving with purpose, and
Yeah.
then bam, you walk smack into a heavy, locked glass door.
Ouch. Yeah, you just didn't see it coming at all.
Right. It jolts you physically. Your adrenaline spikes. But more importantly, it instantly snaps your brain back to objective reality.
The illusion that you're just going to keep making progress is completely shattered in like a fraction of a second. You're just forced to stop.
Yeah, because a locked physical door does not negotiate with your desire to keep walking.
No, it really doesn't. It just exists as an immovable barrier.
And as human beings, we usually despise that feeling.
Mm.
I mean, we hate being interrupted, and we definitely hate being stopped cold when we feel like we're, making an effort.
Oh, absolutely. It's incredibly frustrating.
But what if that abrupt, unyielding stop is actually the most valuable thing you could possibly experience in your personal life, your professional life, whatever? Welcome to today's deep dive. We are looking at a fascinating piece of source material today that tackles that deep, deep discomfort of being stopped in your tracks.
Yeah, and the source material is really unique today. It's a single, rather striking email.
Right, from a sender identified only as beta count, and it's dated exactly today, March 31st, 2026.
And it arrives with this very intriguing subject line. It just says, JJ21, tired of intent.
Yeah, tired of intent. And what really stands out visually is that the text includes a standard everyday Gmail logo.
Which is such a weird contrast, right? It grounds this intense philosophical musing in the most um, mundane digital format imaginable. It's an interface you and I probably look at a dozen times a day.
Exactly. So our mission for this deep dive is to explore a truly surprising philosophical bridge that this author builds. We're going to journey from old school military discipline straight into the architecture of modern AI algorithms.
It's quite the leap.
It really is. We'll unpack the absolute limits of good intentions, the stark philosophy of don't try, just do, the necessity of a hard stop in your life, and how artificial intelligence is rapidly becoming the modern digital enforcer of mission success. Okay, let's unpack this.
To really understand the trajectory the author takes us on, we have to look closely at their starting point. And it's rooted in this place of intense, raw frustration with modern culture.
Yeah, you can really feel the annoyance in the writing.
You really can. The text opens with a very sharp critique of a society that they feel prioritizes effort over actual results.
Right, and to quote the text directly, and remember, we're just reporting what's on the page here, they describe the current environment as a, quote, trying culture, women-led, emotional-driven shit, end quote.
Yeah, it's very blunt.
Very blunt. Now, regardless of where anyone sits on the cultural or political spectrum, our goal here isn't to validate or condemn that specific phrasing. We're simply reporting the author's personal viewpoint as the foundational premise of their argument.
Right, because they're articulating a fundamental friction with a society that values the attempt over the outcome. They are just exhausted by a world where emotions and the act of, trying are given more weight than objective success.
So, to anchor this frustration, the author flashes back to a very specific memory from almost a decade ago. They take us back to October 24, 2017.
Right, and a conversation they had with a 77-year-old retired military veteran. The text explicitly refers to him as both an Army vet and a Navy retired individual.
So this is someone who has spent a lifetime embedded in the rigid, outcome-oriented framework of the military.
Exactly. And the author brings up this concept of a hard stop and specifically links it to this veteran.
Okay, so how exactly does a person act as a hard stop? I mean, I had to get the door analogy, but a person.
Well, the veteran defines a hard stop as a person in your life who stops you in your tracks the moment you're going in the wrong direction or adopting the wrong mindset.
Kind of like the physical door stop.
Exactly like that. Think of a wedge of rubber shoved under a heavy door. It doesn't ask the door how it feels about moving. It doesn't gently suggest the door slow down its swing.
Right, its entire physical existence is designed to strictly prevent the door from continuing its current trajectory.
Yes, it is an absolute non-negotiable barrier. And the veteran didn't just explain this concept. He embodied it during their conversation.
Yeah, the author asked him for general business and life advice, and the veteran's response was brutal, but incredibly simple.
Yeah.
He just said, don't try, just do.
And he enforced it. Every single time the author used the word try in their conversation, the veteran would literally become that hard stop. He would interrupt the author mid-sentence,
Just completely cutting them off.
stopping them dead in their tracks to correct their vocabulary. And the author actually notes that this intervention was, quote, very much needed.
It's like a real-time behavioral intervention. He was actively rewiring the author's vocabulary. Because in his worldview, the words we use dictate the psychological frameworks we operate within.
That's spot on. But I know you had some thoughts on this.
I do. I have to push back on this absolute rejection of the word trying because it feels incredibly rigid. I mean, isn't trying the necessary first step of literally any learning process?
You mean like when we're first figuring things out?
Yeah. It's like telling a toddler not to try to walk. Just walk. If the toddler falls down, we don't say, well, your mission failed, you're a failure. We applaud the attempt.
Right, we encourage them.
We celebrate the trying because the attempt itself builds the muscle capacity and the neurological pathways to eventually succeed. So why is this military mindset so incredibly unyielding on what seems like, honestly, mere semantics?
What's fascinating here is you bring up the toddler analogy, and it perfectly highlights the difference between a developmental environment and an execution environment.
Okay, execution environment. Tell me more about that.
Well, we absolutely applaud the toddler because their only mission is growth. But the author is arguing that we carry that toddler mindset into high-stakes adult environments.
Where falling down doesn't just mean a bruised knee.
Exactly. It means a business goes bankrupt, or a bridge collapses, or, in the veteran's case, casualties occur. In a high-stakes context, this is not about semantics at all. It is fundamentally about removing the psychological safety net that the word trying provides.
Ah, the safety net.
Yeah. When you say, I am going to try to secure the perimeter, or I am trying to finish this project, you are subconsciously giving yourself permission to fail.
Wow. You're building in a linguistic excuse before the action even begins.
Precisely. You're telling yourself and others that if things go wrong, well, at least you put in the effort. The veteran's absolute refusal to accept the word try is an engineered removal of that safety net.
It forces the individual to take absolute, unvarnished ownership of the outcome.
You either do it or you don't. There's no comfortable middle ground of, I tried. It just completely eliminates the cognitive self-handicapping that humans naturally engage in to, protect their egos.
And that shift in perspective completely reframes the author's current realization. They look back at this 2017 conversation now, from the vantage point of 2026, and they finally understand why the veteran was right.
And it all centers around the concept of intent.
Yeah. The author lays it out bluntly. They write, intent is a bitch.
They acknowledge that intent covers a lot of everyday human interaction. It gives us the comforting idea that a person means well.
But meaning well does absolutely nothing to change the fact that an action or a mission still failed.
Right. The bridge is out, the car crashed, the code base is broken. The fact that the person in charge meant well does not rebuild the bridge.
No, it really doesn't.
The author has realized that human beings are fundamentally social creatures, and because we're social, we are biologically wired to avoid conflict.
Yeah, nobody likes delivering bad news.
From an evolutionary standpoint, delivering bad news to the tribe used to get you exiled. Today, delivering bad news to a colleague triggers a literal threat response in the brain's amygdala. It is deeply uncomfortable to look someone in the eye and say, your action failed.
Here's where it gets really interesting, especially if you look at modern corporate culture. Intent is basically treated like a corporate participation trophy.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
It keeps everyone happy in the boardroom. It maintains a pleasant, collaborative atmosphere. But a participation trophy doesn't actually ship the new software product. It doesn't fix a critical bug.
It just creates a comfortable illusion of productivity.
Exactly. We are prioritizing the emotional comfort of the team over the objective reality of the failure.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, what the author has successfully diagnosed is profound inefficiency in human systems. When absolute success is required, our human emotions, our empathy, and our biological desire to avoid social discomfort actively get in the way of objective reality.
We're too soft to be our own hard stops.
We are. We allow the door to keep swinging because we don't want to hurt the door's feelings. We use intent as a social buffer to soften the blow of failure.
So if humans are biologically wired to avoid conflict and soften the blow with intent, how do we ever enforce these hard stops at scale? I mean, how do we build systems that demand objective success when the people running the systems are afraid to deliver bad news?
We outsource the enforcement to machines. We transition from human flaws to technological solutions.
Uh,
The author introduces digital structures and artificial intelligence as the ultimate answer to this human weakness.
right, the text points specifically to how digital structures, like forms, operate. Forms present a way for individuals to express themselves, but strictly within a structured format. You are only allowed to fill out what is available or asked.
Think about applying for a mortgage online.
Oh, yeah. You can't write a tearful essay in the middle of the application explaining how hard you try to save money or how good your intentions are.
No, the field only accepts a 9-digit social security number or a specific income bracket. The structure simply does not possess a mechanism to process your intent. It only processes the data.
And this extends directly into the architecture of modern algorithms and this really fascinating concept of AI alignment.
Yeah, for anyone unfamiliar, AI alignment is traditionally the field of research dedicated to ensuring that artificial intelligence acts in accordance with human intentions and values. The tech industry spends billions trying to make sure AI understands what we mean to do.
Which creates a massive, almost humorous irony here.
How so?
Well, the entire tech world is obsessed with programming human intent into AI, while this author's arguing that human intent is actually our greatest weakness. The author suggests we don't need AI to understand our feelings. We need AI to enforce our standards precisely because it lacks those feelings.
That is a brilliant observation. The author breaks down the logic of how this works at the data level. An algorithm collects data. It doesn't care if you were tired or if you meant well. If that data does not meet the strictly established modeling criteria, the IF functions activate. If data equals the established standard, then accept. If data does not equal the standard, then reject.
The result is a pure, unadulterated binary. It is either acceptance or rejection.
And the author even writes it out playfully in the text as impl with a $sign.
I noticed that. It's
Ah.
perfectly clean. There's no negotiation. The algorithm does not look at a failed data set and say, well, the user really put in a lot of effort here. Let's let it slide to preserve the relationship.
Not at all. And the grand realization of the entire piece is that in 2026, the artificial intelligence has functionally become the 77-year-old veteran from 2017.
Wow. AI manifests as the established rules and principles of previous authorities.
Yeah. The author points out that the veteran's advice is pre-COVID, essentially prehistoric by the hyper-fast standards of modern tech. Yet it serves as a fundamental truth on morality and objective success.
We have taken that rigid, unyielding analog discipline and coded it into our digital future.
The AI is the ultimate perfect doorstop. It enforces the standards without a single ounce of the emotional baggage associated with trying.
So what does this all mean? I have a major concern with this trajectory.
What's your concern?
If AI is the new veteran, if the algorithm is our new baseline for enforcing reality, it fundamentally doesn't care about our feelings. But if we rely purely on a binary I function, don't we lose the essential nuance of human context?
You mean the empathy side of things?
Yeah, an algorithm just flashes a red rejected screen. It doesn't put a hand on your shoulder. It doesn't explain the underlying mechanics of why you failed or guide you on how to be better next time. It just shuts the door. By outsourcing our hard stops to algorithms, aren't we sacrificing our humanity for the sake of mechanical efficiency?
This raises an important question, perhaps the most critical question of our current technological era. Are we losing something vital when we remove empathy from evaluation? From the author's perspective, however, that loss of emotional nuance isn't a bug in the system, it is the core feature. Removing the human element is the entire point.
Because the human element is what makes us fail.
Exactly. AI alignment, in their view, is precisely about enforcing standards reliably without the manipulative power of meaning well. For a culture that the author believes is drowning in emotional excuses, an emotionless enforcer is exactly what is required to get back to objective reality.
The algorithm doesn't need to put a hand on your shoulder because its only job is to ensure the mission succeeds.
Period.
It is a bracing, almost chilling perspective, but the logical through line the author builds is incredibly robust. Let's recap the journey we've taken today. We started with a frustrated email sent today, March 31st, 2026, which looked back at a pivotal real-world conversation from 2017 with a military veteran.
We explored his absolute rejection of the word try, exposing the psychology of how good intentions often just mask our failure to achieve a mission and protect our egos from the discomfort of falling short.
And finally, we arrived at this stark vision of the present and future. AI algorithms acting as digital hard stops, enforcing rules and delivering binary realities without the messy, conflict-avoidant human emotion of delivering bad news.
It is a profound shift from analog human discipline to digital algorithmic enforcement. We are recognizing our own biological limitations when it comes to holding each other accountable, and we are building tools that do not share those limitations.
We want to turn this over to you, listening right now. Think about the frameworks and the safety nets in your own life. Where are you currently relying on the excuse of intent?
Are there areas in your career or your relationships where you are hiding behind the comfort of trying instead of facing the harsh binary of acceptance or rejection?
Who or what is the hard stop in your life right now? Are you letting the door swing wildly, hoping for the best, or do you have something firmly keeping you in check?
Consider the trajectory we're on with this technology as it integrates deeper into our daily lives. If we increasingly rely on AI to be the emotionless enforcer of our rules, if we build our world around the ultimate digital hard stop that completely ignores our good intentions and only evaluates our results, will human society become perfectly efficient but entirely unforgiving of honest mistakes? Will the very concept of meaning well disappear completely from how we collaborate as a species?
Makes you wonder. The next time you are walking down that hallway, lost in your own good intentions, and you walk smack into that locked glass door. Wait, let me rephrase that. When you hit that door, maybe don't curse it. Maybe, just maybe, you should thank it for stopping you.